Hey there friends, Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. So I have a Stampin' Show and Tell for you for my Make It Monday project. And okay, I think this one's kind of clever. So I needed to do demo swap, and so you always kind of have to gauge your materials so you have enough to make duplicate cards. So I wanted to use the new Joy of Christmas paper and the dies from the Classic Christmas bundle. So I knew what I wanted to use, and I knew the colors were going to be the red and the green. But I wanted to use my DSP, but kind of in a different way. So I thought, and I thought, okay, I really like the front of my card to be the DSP, but the inside, right, I want the white. But often we just layer our DSP on top of our cardstock. I thought, I'm going to do something a little different. So this is a way to kind of reserve your cardstock, and it's going to show off both sides of our DSP, inside and out, and then we're going to use the fun dies to gussy up the front. So I'm going to show you how I put this together real quick. Okay, so I have I've done my die cuts ahead of time. So I've done some really simple cutting. I have a 1/4 sheet of cardstock for my base. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I have a 4 by 6 piece of DSP, okay, and I've scored it at 5 1/4 inches because if you step in our cards symmetrically, you'd want 4 by 5 1/4 on the front. So I have 4 by 6, and then I scored it at 5 1/4, and then I'm just going to crease that back with my bone folder. Okay. Now, you would think that this inside piece would be 4 by 5 1/4, but when you put that size cardstock in and fold this over, it usually sticks out the end. So what I've done is I cut my white inner piece at 4 by 5 1/8. So it's a little bit smaller than the front. So now all I'm going to do is I've got this positioned on the inside, right, the back side of my DSP. And I'm just going to use my liquid adhesive, and I'm going to adhere down that 3/4 inch flap of my DSP. So just hold your inside piece in place, put some adhesive on that flap, and then just fold it back. So I kind of just wrap that edge around that one panel of cardstock. So now I've got this hinged centerpiece. Okay, maybe it's not a fantastically new idea, but it was a new idea for me and I wanted to share it with you. So make sure you leave me comments, you know, whether that was a new idea or whether you've seen that before. But I thought that was a great way to save on some white cardstock without doubling it up, and a great way to showcase both sides of our DSP. So that's the really simple basic card. You could do this with any papers, coordinate your colors, and you could make a whole bunch, and then you could just add your sentiments later on when you needed them. So that's a really great just base card design. Okay, so now let's finish it off with the Classic Christmas stamp sets and dies. So from Shaded Spruce, I've cut the large square wreath-like one. I have a white inset square with those little fun angled corners. I have some berries that I've die cut from Real Red. And I've gone ahead and stamped and die cut one of the holly leaves, but I'm going to show you how I did that in just a second. So let me go ahead and stamp my sentiment. So I'm using Deck the Halls, which fits right in the center of this square. So I'm going to do that one in the red. I love that you can see through the stamps and the blocks, so you can get that placement on there so you can do your die cutting first. Okay, so there's my sentiment, and then I'm just going to do it on a piece of scrap white. I've got my Shaded Spruce green color, and I'm just going to stamp a leaf, and then, okay, that's green on white. I'm just coming in with my blender pen and pulling the wet ink into the image. So it's kind of like a wash effect. It adds some color, but it's not solid color, so you still have all the detail of that stamp to use, but it's a little bit of a variegation on the solid green. Okay, and then there's a die for this in the Christmas Classic dies that will just die cut that right out, which is what I did there. Okay, so really easy die cutting, right? So then we just have to build our card. So I'm going to pop this sentiment up on dimensionals because we're going to use a piece of ribbon as an embellishment. I'm going to tuck that behind this. Let me get that set on dimensionals. Okay, so here's the ribbon. This is a new white iridescent ribbon, and I just want 4 inches, so not very much. So this is a good way of adding a little ribbon to your project, but not, you know, using 12, 18, 20 inches at a time. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to cut to the corner, so I have a little bit of an edge. I got a little string there. Okay, it came off. Okay, so now I've got a double-edged bow. And then with a glue dot, just find that middle again. And put one glue dot on the middle. And then just fold it in half, like that. And then when you open it up, you just fold it back on itself one more time there. Okay? So you'll end up with this little tail of a bow ready to go on to your project. See? See how I made that little V? Okay, so that guy is going to go on one side of our square. So I'm just going to put that down here. Okay, and then I'm going to add my sentiment to the center of that die and cover up where that bow attached. Okay, now I'm going to add my holly leaf. I'm going to go in with another glue dot, and I'm going to stick the stem underneath and just place that like that. And then I've got my berries, which again, glue dot on one of them. I'm going to use my piercing tool to pick that up, or you could use your take-a-pick tool to place that down. So there's my whole embellishment, right? Just layers and layers of dies and ribbons. Put some adhesive on the back of that, and then that's going to go on the center of my card. So yes, it took me some time to do all the die cutting, but other than that, it came together really simply, and I really like the base card design. I'm sure I'm going to use that again, so you'll be seeing that again. But I thought that was a great way to use that DSP, right? If you cut it 4 by 6, you get 4 per sheet, so that's really easy to duplicate a card. And it's a way to save on your other cardstock because you're only using a 1/4 sheet or less. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Christmas Classics project. And thumbs up, right? Subscribe to my channel. Leave me comments below. Let me know what you think. And if you're more interested in my projects, just follow my links, subscribe to my newsletter, or send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. All right, guys. Do some fun stamping, and I'll stamp again with you real soon. Bye-bye.